All right.
Oh, dude, we haven't been in this seat for a minute. Oh my god. All right. So, down here at JBR Studios, the JBR Experience, we are on episode 10. It's kind of a milestone. We're in double digits, right? Um, it has been too long since we launched an episode, and I get it. It's been a busy few weeks, but I got a special guest here sitting next to me. His name's Jose. Um, I haven't heard personally your story by any means, so I think this is going to be good. It's going to be raw. It's going to be organic. It's going to be the first time I've ever heard it. All I know that is you're a big part of the recovery space because you're in recovery yourself. Alec is back there behind the scenes as always. He speaks highly of you. You know what I mean? Says you do a lot for the community in the recovery space. You guys just went to a big convention, the Oxford
Yeah, World Convention.
World Convention over in
Yeah.
DC.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. So if you want to just take a minute, introduce yourself, who you are, kind of, and then we'll kick it.
All right. My name's Jose Degante. From Mattawa, and I've been in recovery for close to 4 years. I just um got my 4 years in July,
Nice.
23rd.
Congratulations on that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it's been a long road, man. And you know, coming from where I came from, such a small community in Mattawa, it's it's been a long journey, man.
Right.
I struggled with drugs and alcohol for close to 20 years, probably a little bit more, give or
Yeah.
take a year.
So not
And
just drugs, but alcohol on
alcohol
top of that.
also, yeah. So,
Okay.
um, you know, my addiction didn't discriminate. It liked everything, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so, and I struggled with that for a long time. Um, I think, with me, I know my problem is addiction, right?
Mhm.
It's not just one substance. It's a multiple. It doesn't even have to be a substance.
It could be one just
It could be anything,
good or
and
bad.
good or bad,
Okay.
and I've learned over the years is that I have to practice things in moderation because it can get out of hand, and I could just put all my energy into that, whether it be work, whether it be women, whether it be video games, anything that I could just hold on to because something inside me is empty,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something I'm looking for something and I don't know what it is. And when my body likes something, I grasp onto it. And
That's
and
the
I
first time. That's the first time I think I've because we've had a lot of individuals. I mean, on the podcast that have come through recovery, and I mean, obviously my best friend Alec, and um, but that's the first time I think I've heard someone say that.
yeah,
Like as far as like being addicted to a good thing or a bad thing.
yeah.
So that's
And
interesting.
and it's weird because like for a long time I thought there was nothing wrong with me. I felt like because a lot of it was co-occurring with me. So I had depression, anxiety.
Right.
Um, growing up, I saw a lot of violence in my household, domestic violence, and
Okay.
that affected me. And I know that even after my parents divorced, and moving from schools to schools, that affected me. I didn't know how to process all that during my addiction and during when I was doing the 20 years that I struggled
Right.
until I got into recovery that I started processing those traumas, right?
Yeah.
And you
So,
know
so if it was, I mean, so how old are you?
me right now,
Yeah,
I'm 41.
41. So okay. So to jog it back, when did you like? Because I've asked this question. We talked about this off camera, but I've asked the same question to everyone. It's like, can you pinpoint down to an age or a moment that you really that one decision led you down the right, down the wrong path?
I can. So growing up, I was a nerd. I did good in school. I like comic books. I was hanging out with the kids that had A's and B's, right? And I remember uh, one of the quote unquote cool kids came over and was like, "Hey, you should quit hanging around them. Come hang out with us. And I remember walking away from those friends of mine, and they were asking me like, hey, "You're not gonna sit with us during lunch?" And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna go hang out with these guys." And I remember one of those lunch breaks. I was in 8th grade. My friend at that time, he was a friend, one of the cool kids, right? He was like, "Hey, we're gonna go over to so and so's house across the street. Why don't you come with us for lunch?" We went over there, and I don't know how he got cigarettes, but he had cigarettes, and so we went into his garage, and I remember passing around this one cigarette. Like there was like 6 of us in there.
Mm-hmm.
That was the moment that that I knew that I was gonna go down that path, because I knew I wasn't supposed to be smoking, right?
Right.
I knew all these things were like all bad and stuff like that, but doing that, you know, kind of made me feel cool,
Rebellious.
yeah, right.
You're right. Right.
Right. And so like that was the moment that I decided like, yeah, I'm going to follow these guys cuz they got the chicks, they got, they got all this stuff, I just want to be cool, right? Cuz up until then, I felt like I was just overlooked, unseen, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and a lot of it was that I didn't want to be alone, man. I didn't want to be alone. And I wanted to feel loved.
Were at that point where your parents already divorced?
Yes, they were divorced, and it was my dad was always working. He wasn't there. He wasn't emotionally available for me. He was always working, just a old school Mexican, just
Yeah.
get up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to sleep.
Right.
That was his routine day in, day out. And on weekends, he wasn't doing anything. He was just, he was probably doing some side hustles or something, but I would hardly ever see him.
Which is a norm, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah, it
because
is.
especially in today's society. Like, I mean, I fall victim of that too. I fall like, if I work harder, and earn more money, I could provide better for my family, and that might be just a man mentality,
Yeah.
right? But no, I get it.
And like there's that machismo, right? And
Yeah.
my dad was like that. He was like, well, because once he started seeing me rebel, and I was talking a little bit to Alec about it, is like I remember the one time that like really he wasn't mad at me, he was just disappointed.
Mm.
Um my addiction had already progressed into marijuana and alcohol at this point. I was like probably in high school at this point.
Oh shit.
And the Yakima Fair was happening, and I remember asking him for money, and he didn't want to give me money, right? And so I took it upon myself to steal his money, and I left, and I spent it all, and I come back, and he just gave me the talk. He wasn't yelling. He was just, I provide for you. I do all these things for you. Why would you do that to me?
Mm.
It hurt me, but I was in my addiction. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like I was going to do what I
And
wanted.
this was in high school.
Yeah, this was in high school. This was already like I was probably dabbling in like a little bit of hard drugs, but not, it wasn't an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It was just mostly just marijuana and alcohol, because I mean, I was kicking it with
But
girls.
back then, marijuana, I mean, obviously you're underage, but marijuana was still illegal.
Yeah, it was.
So it was still an illegal drug.
Oh yeah, you couldn't
Right.
get it in stores.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so like I was still, buying street weed,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so yeah, and I I felt the hurt that he had because he knew that he was not like, this was gonna be a pattern. He saw it, that this was gonna be a pattern, that I was just gonna disappoint my father from here on out. He tried to get me to work. He tried to instill things. Like I ended up dropping out of high school. I ended up, leaving to Yakima with my mom, who was also struggling with addiction. And, you know, I went over to, because in my mind, I'm like, well, I can help my mom. But that just led me down a darker path where I discovered, harder drugs in Yakima. And,
As I say, Yakima's not
oh no,
the greatest place.
no. And so like when I decided to go to my mom's, um, that's when it was a really big turning point. That was like another big factor, was like I left this small Mattawa town
Mm-hmm.
that I hadn't, it was a culture shock for me. Like I only knew this agricultural town for so many years, right? Like there's not really nothing going on in Mattawa. And then I moved to a city like Yakima.
Yakima's big for what it is.
And so, yeah. And I was already hanging around like gang members and stuff like that.
And you
so,
had dropped out of high school at that
Yeah.
point?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like the crowd now that I'm hanging around with at this point in my life were like gang members, drug dealers, um, just all kinds of seedy people, right?
Right.
And these were the people that I looked up to, like,
Mm.
so then moving to Yakima, uh, my mom worked at a bar, sold drugs, and that's how she was supporting my baby sister and me at the time, and she was like, well, you can help, babysit while I, work and do all this side stuff, right? And so I did. And then it started becoming too much for her. Then she was like, well, I need you to do this side hustle while I work. And so I started selling drugs at like 16. I started selling cocaine out of my mom's apartment and at a young age. And I didn't know like
And
people would come to the house and like there wasn't cell phones at the I mean there was cell phones, but I don't think I had one. But my mom would just tell me before she left to work, if anybody comes here and they knock on the door, ask them what they want, and if they tell you something, this is where this and this and this is at, right?
holy shit, dude.
Yeah, and so like I got used to selling drugs at the age of 16, and then I would like I would overcharge them or something to put money in my pocket, right?
You started learning the game like, damn.
Young, bro.
Damn.
And so that happened for like 2 years until my mom got fired for selling drugs.
At that point in time, in that gap, if you were did you get more into hard drugs then?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, so at 16,
Yeah.
you're
I was already using meth and cocaine, still drinking and still smoking weed.
Any contact with your dad
at this
all?
point, no, because I was in Yakima, and so like my dad knew I was with my mom, and I didn't want to go back to my dad's house because he was gonna make me work. He
You had the freedom at your mom's house.
Yeah,
You do whatever
and
you
it
want.
was a codependency. Like I would take care of her kids, and she would let me do what I wanted, and
Damn.
it was under the rules of like, well, at least he's at home doing drugs, so I know he's okay. That's what my mom would say to me,
Yeah.
and or justify it, right?
And you say that out loud now, and you're like, dude.
Yeah, like it blows my mind now. Like if my kids were to ask me that, bro, like I would be like, oh hell no, you ain't doing none of that. Like we're not doing none of that.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
I don't. My mom always treated me like her best friend
Instead of a parent.
instead of a parent.
Yeah.
And even and all this relationship goes until today, right? Like after like I left Yakima, like me and my mom had a falling out. I told her,
18, 19 years old.
yeah, I'm
type
like
of deal?
18
Yeah.
18 at the time. I ended up falling out with my mom, and I tell my dad I gotta move back because at this point it got so bad that we had an apartment, didn't have no running water, didn't have no electricity, had a 4-year-old girl, my sister. She was my sister, who was 4 years old, had no food, had nothing, and the only reason like I was able to keep my sister safe was because I was using meth and keeping all the people away from her. So I had to use drugs in order to keep up with the crackheads coming to the house. And
What the?
yeah, and so like I had to be protective of my baby sister, right? And that was the only thing that mattered to me at that time, was taking care of my sister.
And was your sister your actual full sister, or was it
She's a half sister.
half sister? So okay,
Yeah.
so when your parents split, your mom had her.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you still talk to her today?
Yeah,
You
we
guys
have a
close?
great relationship. She knows the things that she went through, and she knows that I was there for her. I'm like the father figure for her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, her dad's been there, but
Yeah.
I'm the one that took care of her.
Right.
And so like, yeah, so I would have to steal, cheat money, sell drugs, do all these things to take care of my little sister. I got tired of it. I said some words to my mom, and my mom was like, well, if you don't like it, you can leave. And I left. 2 months later, I
Back to Mattawa to your
yeah.
dad.
I went back to Mattawa, started working again, and because that was the only way my dad was letting me back into the house, so I had to go out to the fields and work. And then
Yeah.
my mom was like, I'm tired of living like this. I need to go to treatment. And I was
shit.
like, okay, let's get you to treatment. I'll work. I'll get you out of Yakima. We'll get you a place in Mattawa. And we did. She went to treatment. That's when she found out she was pregnant with my little brother, and she got clean. That's the one time she did get clean. She got clean, came back to Mattawa, and then I had saved up some money for her to live at a family friend's, and I was like, "Can you rent her out a room?" And obviously she was pregnant and she had my little sister, and they agreed to it. And then my mom gets out of treatment. She starts working at bars again. She starts getting her own place, but she maintained her sobriety for a while until she got her own place. But then I started going bad into drugs. I stopped working with my dad. I started, running around Mattawa, doing all kinds of bad shit, hanging out with gangbangers, just getting into fights, doing all kinds of crazy shit.
So this is one thing I've always been curious about. And Alec and I have had a lot of conversations about this. So what can you try to think why is that switch happen multiple times? Like, you get clean, your mom got clean, and then you say she started getting back in that lifestyle because she got her own place.
Yeah.
You got back into that lifestyle because you stopped working. Do you think like you did that because you had more time, or like, why do you think?
I think I was just tired, and to be honest, I didn't like working in the fields, right? But, once my mom started getting her life back together, I was like, okay, I can stop doing this now.
Oh, shit.
I can.
So you weren't really getting clean for yourself then?
No,
is what it boils down to.
Yeah. And so I can take a step back, do what I want to do now, quit being the provider for my mother, because she's able to do it for her kids. So at this point, I'm like, okay, she's going to be fine, right? Well, she gets her own place. Now I'm not doing okay. Now I start drinking and driving. I get my DUIs. I get 3 DUIs back to back. Like, the first 2 were back to back, and then I got another one a year later. So I lose my license.
Any jail time?
Oh, yeah. And I did like a month in jail. This was my first stint in jail also. And then I had to do all these treatment classes and stuff like that. And at this point, I lost everything, right? And so now I'm back at my mom's house.
And how old were you then? Right.
I was 21, 22.
Damn.
22. And I go back to my mom's house, and now I'm again living it with my mom. And so she's like, all right, yeah, we'll just keep you here as long as you can watch the kids. It was the same thing, right? Right back to the same thing. So she's like, I'll go to work, you watch the kids. Same thing that we were doing in Yakima, now we're going to do here in Mattawa, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, I can do whatever I want as long as I watch her kids. And so my disease progressed over. That's when I really started, literally raised her kids from, there were, adolescents. I watched them grow pretty much from being kids to adolescents to adults. And meanwhile, I'm all on drugs, right? I'm all fucked up on meth and heroin. And, by this time I lose everything, bro. Everything. I tried to get clean 2 times. And I'm trying to have relationships with my, at my mom's house with my baby's moms. And it never worked out, for whatever reason. My mom had such a hold on me and was like, I need you here. I need you to take care of my kids. Who's going to take care of the house? And would just put these guilt trips on me, right? Because me and my mom have a very toxic relationship. I know that.
Today?
Even till today, right?
Damn.
But she knows I'm in recovery now, so she gives me my space. But every time I go back to that house, I see the destruction that I caused.
Along with the same house of when you were 20, 21?
Yeah. It's the same house.
So do you feel like it's a big trigger?
Yeah. Definitely. That's why I don't go back to Mattawa. I go visit my dad, and my dad still has the same house, but the thing was with my dad, I never used drugs there.
Right.
My dad, I saw a lot of my dad was fucked up too. He would drink a lot. So I seen a lot of alcoholism, that was my first vice out of everything was alcohol. Those are my reservations even till this day. If I relapse on something, it's going to be alcohol.
Yeah.
Cuz I had
you had more exposure to it.
Yeah, and it's just so readily available. I can get it wherever.
Well, yeah, I mean, and see, that's what's, dude, you saying that's what's crazy is like when you look at alcohol and like compare it to drugs, like when you say like, okay, you're in recovery, everyone always assumes when you say that it's just hard drugs.
Yeah.
No one ever like puts the mind to like, oh, you're in recovery from alcohol. It's like, I feel like in the recovery world and space, it's not talked about enough.
And can I tell you something? I caused more harm to people on alcohol than I ever did on drugs.
Why do you think that is?
I was, because a monster was in me. I was full of hate. I was
Mm.
angry. And every time I got drunk to the point where I would black out,
And
or
that shit came out.
it would come out, and I would wake up and they would be like, you did this to this person, you did that to that person.
And then no regulation of it.
And I couldn't remember. And I'd be like, but that's
Fuck
not
that.
me, right? I'm not like that. But when I'm on that monster, I am like that. Like that's what's in me, and
Mhm.
that's something that, I had to live with. I hurt a lot of people, bro.
Dude, I could raise my hand and contest to that because when I got out of the Marine Corps, I have never been a big drinker at all. Alec, like the whole 11 years I was in the military, drank maybe once a year at the Marine Corps birthday ball. And when I got out and I struggled through all my shit, I drank a lot more,
Yeah.
a lot more. And it was every time I drank, bad shit
Yeah,
happened.
it's scary, right?
Yeah.
Like there was times where I didn't know how I woke up, who I beat up, or who beat me up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be me that got the ass whooping,
Right.
and it was just, like a lot of my relationships. Two of my baby mamas left me because of my alcoholism, not because I was on drugs, but because of my alcoholism.
Because you turn into a completely
An
different
asshole.
fucking person.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
asshole. Just somebody that doesn't care, right? That doesn't
Right.
even care about his own appearance. That just was just awful, bro. Like that's how drunk I was getting, and the whole time I'm doing this is because something's missing. Something's missing, right? I I for a long time struggled with being loved. Like I always felt like I was never good enough to be loved. Like, those are some of the character defects I have, that I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
And you know, I struggled with that for a long time. That's where my depression came from. My anxiety was like, am I ever going to get it right? Am I ever going to be good enough? These are things that would run through my head all the time. And my depression would be like, take over and just be like, you're not. You're not. This is why you're going to die like this. This is who you were meant to be, a drug addict, an alcoholic, a person that
Man,
doesn't
that's
deserve
the
it.
devil freaking on your shoulder, bro.
Yeah, it was. And it kept me down. It kept me sick for a long time, that negative talk, that,
Mm-hmm.
that, and it would just, and then I would hate. Then it would just fester into hate and
Mm-hmm.
anger, like, why can't I find somebody that I, can connect with? Why can't I
And
be the person that I want to be? Why me?
and
Right?
then it's like, and then you self destruct shit.
Oh yeah.
Like even if something's going right in your life, you're so used to fucking chaos and
Yeah.
bullshit that it's just like if something's going right, it's wrong.
Right.
So, dude, I get it. So at this point in time, you got 3 DUIs in your early 20s. You face some jail time. The repercussions of a DUI is insane. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, probably fines,
Oh yeah.
license is gone.
Dude, I had a nice car. I had a like nice Ford Ranger truck that I had worked for that time that I was working
Right.
and getting my mom situated again. I had gotten myself a truck. I had all these things going for me. My license, I was driving with insurance, all these things, right? And I lost it all because I was like, my mom's fine now, so I can party. That was
But
my
dude,
mindset.
but like you know what's crazy though is like because you got clean not for yourself. Like you were getting clean to to take care of your mom,
Yeah.
right? And so ultimately, deep down, it wasn't for you.
No.
And so when that what would you call it, responsibility is now gone, you revert right back to what you knew.
And I felt like, because I always knew that I could go back to that life, right? Like I knew it was always there.
Yeah, that shit's easy.
That shit's easy.
Yeah.
Like I could go back to that anytime I wanted. So
Mhm.
like if I gotta go step away and do this for a little bit, I can come back. You know, it's gonna be right
It's
there.
always gonna be there.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so like in my mind, I'm like I already had it in my mind. Like I'm gonna do this until my mom gets right, and then I'm gonna go back. You know, I just wanted to make sure that my brother and sister were gonna be okay.
Right.
Like it wasn't really even for my mom. I just wanted my mom to be a good mom, like she was to me when I was growing up. That's what I wanted for them. You know.
Until you hit the age of 16, and then you start selling drugs for her,
Mm-hmm.
type shit.
Because my mom, she used to work in like uh the Head Start migrant Head Start
Oh yeah,
program. She
yeah.
was like a kids teacher, really good with kids and all that. And I saw it all go away after the divorce. She started using, started drinking. You know, it's unfortunate, but it happened, right?
Yeah.
And even with my dad got lost in alcohol. So after the divorce, you know.
Dude, divorces, man. I come from a divorced family too. My parents divorced when I was 10. And it was horrible.
Yeah.
It's a shitty thing. Um, and I went through all my shit, and divorces, I think, fundamentally change your childhood, right? Because you then grow up in split homes, and then I went through a divorce myself. The worst time of my life,
Yeah.
through
And
all that shit.
and the thing is that I became I in my mind, all that self doubt, self hate that I would give myself, I was doing that as a kid. It started when I was a kid when my parents split.
Because you thought you were the reason.
I thought I was the reason. I thought it was my fault. I thought I could fix it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't.
Yeah.
And then I just like, oh, you're not good enough to fix things. You're not good enough. You're not good enough for them to get back together. You know?
Damn.
And so like I carried that with me, right? And so like now when I see my parents in trouble, I want to help them and fix them,
Yeah.
right? I try to become the problem solver, which I know like at the end of the day, people have to solve their own problems.
Right.
You have to have, because nobody can do it for you. I know that today, right? It took a long time for me to realize these things, grateful to my recovery and grateful that I am being able to do these things today,
Yeah.
and be able to tell my story and, be able to help people that are struggling, because it a lot of the reason why I went to drugs and alcohol was because I couldn't deal with the traumas that happened when I was a kid. The abuse, the divorce, all these things that I was running from, or that my mind decided to put way back in my head and not
Yeah.
remember it, was starting, I was drowning myself because I didn't want to feel it, man. And it created a big old hole in my heart, like, because I did not know what to do. I don't ever think, I kind of could have been happy in the moment, but I don't ever think that I was ever at peace during that time. Like I was battling demons,
Yeah.
that were just taking me under. Like not only on top of all this stuff that I was doing, I was hanging around with gangbangers. I was doing all this crazy shit to get high.
Yeah.
Like during my last couple of years of addiction, bro, I was out there doing the most, man. Like I was, hurting people to get drugs. I was, selling drugs, hurting people,
Whatever you could do to get it.
whatever I could do to get it.
Yeah.
And there was I had no breaks. Like I was stealing anything, everything. I was, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and it was nothing that I'm proud of. I'm so glad I don't have to live like that no more, because I was in survival mode constantly.
Yeah.
I gotten to the point where I started using heroin. And that's a whole different monster, right? I could deal with the DTs from alcohol, but because I could just go to the store and get more,
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
with heroin, I had to wait on somebody, or I had to find a dealer,
You
or,
had to
you know,
know people.
yeah, I had to know people, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes they didn't have it, and I had to go through the sicknesses and the motions, which, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And that's what led me to do all those nasty things, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I had an addiction, and, a lot of people, they were like, well, why didn't you just quit? I couldn't quit. I didn't know how to. I didn't know that there was people that wanted to help you. Like
So because you hear that a lot, man. I think with people that have never been exposed to the recovery world, or have really gotten, and this is why I think this this podcast is, I mean, having you guys, and I say you guys, but my best friend lived on the streets for 12 years, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched him fight for his fucking life for a long time. And there were so many, I mean, 11 of those 12 years, I was helpless. I was away. And not till I moved home the past 5 years is when I really started to learn about addiction. And I mean, just recently the Oxford program and what all you guys are doing,
Yeah.
right? So when you're not exposed to that world, the question is like, why can't you just quit? Why would you want to keep living that lifestyle, bro? Like, it's so fucking shitty out there. Like, why can't you just get clean? And it's like, I guess it's hard to articulate
Yeah.
to those people when they ask that, because it's like I can't even explain it. I really
Yeah,
can't.
there's a certain stigma, you know, like and I understand, you know, for some people that are normal, why can't you just quit? Why can't you just put it down? See,
Yeah.
so my brain's wired differently, right? Like I said, I struggle with addiction. Anything that Jose likes, he's gonna grasp onto.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the lifestyle, the drugs, the women, you know, video games, gambling, whatever it is that I can get that dopamine hit,
Like, yeah,
I'm just gonna
yeah.
hold on to it because I'm chemically imbalanced, right? And I need that in order for me to feel good. But today I know that I can do that without all that. You know, I've been able to get to a place where I'm at peace and I can process my feelings today.
As I say, is there anything that you're doing now today in moderation, or that's like a positive thing? I think like aren't like you and Noki and a group of y'all like hitting the gym and shit
Yeah.
and like doing your thing?
Yeah.
Like, do you and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a healthy like outlet.
Yeah.
But also, all good things could be turned into bad things.
Yes.
Right? You could start then to prioritize it over every aspect of your life and not pay attention to all the shit down here. So you're saying you can now identify when those things are kind of like happening?
So like I could have the wherewithal to know that, hey, this is probably going into like the, you know, it's out of your control area of your life, right?
When you start to identify that, what do you do?
So for me, I like to talk about it. Okay. Like I'll tell somebody like, hey, I'm struggling with doing this, or hey, maybe I'll call somebody and we'll go do something, you know, instead of me being left with my own vices and saying, hey, maybe you can go spend $100 gambling, Jose. I'll stop and I'll think, but really, can you afford it? Maybe you should just call somebody, right? Or maybe you need to put the remote control down. You've been playing video games for fucking 4 hours. Right. Go do something, right?
Right.
Even when it comes to like doing Oxford stuff, right? I have to sometimes take a step back and be like, hey, you guys can handle it. I gotta step back, because like sometimes I want to take care of everything, right? I'm a fixer. I'm a people pleaser by nature because because of my addiction. So I want to be able to make sure that all these things are done correctly, right? And sometimes I just need to take a step back and just know that God will take care of it.
Yeah.
You know, or your higher power, whatever you know. For me, it's God.
For me, it's God too. Yeah. 100%.
You know, and just I know that God's gonna take care of it.
Right.
Right. And so, it's a lot of going to meetings. It's a lot of praying. It's a lot of just sitting there and just sometimes taking a minute and just talking to somebody that cares. Right. Because I have those people now today. I'm gonna tell you something. After all this, what started my road to recovery, right? I was selling drugs. Got caught on 4 counts of delivery of a controlled substance with intent to deliver. And people wore wires on me, people that I thought were friends, right? I was at the time, I think I was in Ellensburg when I caught these cases. I was selling there, and I had ran from these warrants for like 2 years before they finally caught me in Sunnyside. I was walking out of a Walmart, and this girl that I was with stole some shoes, and they caught us, and they stopped us. The police came. I had fentanyl pills in my pocket, heroin, and I think some meth, and I was at a really bad point.
And
uh,
how old were you at that point?
I was 38.
Damn.
38 years old. Still had nothing.
Dude, 38 years old, still like running the streets doing shit.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. And still had nothing. Fucking hanging out with gangbangers. Still doing the same thing that I was doing when I was 20. Right.
fuck.
Yeah. And nothing had changed except for how bad my drug addiction had gotten.
Were you working? Do you have a
No.
job?
Nope. My job was to sell drugs and steal. Like that. I was in survival mode, bro. Like I had nothing in my life. I think I had a car. That was it. But it was fucking broken down at the time. But that's all I had to my name. And I was literally living in a little motorhome outside my mom's house that was ran down. My mom's house was all trapped out at this point. Yeah. We're doing the most. Yeah, like it's crazy how my like what led up to my recovery, right? Like that was my rock bottom. Stealing shoes out of a Walmart and having to withdraw in Sunnyside jail with no one, and no medically assisted treatment. Like they didn't offer me no sub-dog, so I had to go through the motions, right? I had to just raw dog it the whole time. Like I was puking, just it was bad, bro. And
all while in like a GP cell.
Yeah,
like,
I was in a holding cell. They held me in the holding cell for 4 days until I got transported, and then they put me in the back of the paddy wagon. I can remember still being sick and shivering, and I literally just laid, and I was cuffed like this, and I just laid in the back, right? Well, while they're doing the turns, and my body's just boom, boom, right? And finally we get to Kittitas. I sign up for the Suboxone program, get on the Suboxone program. So now I'm feeling okay, right? I'm not totally sick, but then they're like, go to court, and the judge is like, well, my offer's 40 months. Like, you're going to do 40 months. And
fuck.
I countered that, and I told my lawyer, I was like, look, I'll tell them I'll do the 30 months, and I'll do the straight 30. Like, no program, no nothing, right? And so they came back. They're like, all right, they'll do the 30 months, but you can't get no residential doza, no nothing like that. So I can't get out early, right? Mm-hmm. So that's when I went to prison, and
so you did 30 months,
almost.
Oh fuck, man!
They sent me to prison. I hit Shelton. I'm still on Suboxone. I'm still with the mentality like, fuck, I need to get high, or I need to do something, right? So there's drugs in prison, right? And so like I had Suboxone, so I was cheeking my Suboxone, selling it for food, because I didn't have no love coming in. Nobody was writing me letters. All these people that I had that were quote unquote my friends weren't there.
Nah,
they weren't there.
You were out of sight, out of mind. They didn't give a fuck.
Yep, they didn't give not one fuck, not even to drop me a letter, not even to drop me no money. Nobody cared. And these are people that I did everything for.
With that being said, did that feed more into the I'm not worthy or I'm not loved?
Yeah.
Type of emotional.
Yeah, it just fed that monster, right? Because like now I felt alone.
Like truly
alone in jail. And like now I have to remake all these friends in jail. I got to make my way in jail. And it's very limited what you can and can't do in jail. So like I'm trying to figure out how to provide for myself in jail when I have nothing. Except for just me. Like, and I don't have no fucking artsy skills or anything like that. I couldn't sell no pictures or make no jewelry, right? Yeah. Like what I did for 20 years was use drugs. Like I didn't have no skill, right? And so, but one thing I would tell you, like I was a good talker, so people liked me. Like people would be like, "Hey, yeah, you're funny, you're cool, man. Like hang out." So, I did make some friends in jail, but still, in my whole time, I'm sitting there thinking like these motherfuckers didn't even bat an eye when I went to jail. Yeah, like they didn't even care. They didn't try to bail me out. I think at one point, like when I was in Kittitas, my bail was only $100, and they didn't bail me out. I mean, I'm glad they didn't, because I would have ran, right? I wouldn't even went back.
Yeah, you would have.
I wouldn't be here today. Yeah. So some good things came out of it, right? Yeah. I see it differently. Like for a long time, I was mad at those people that wore a wire. I'm not mad at them. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah.
I'm truly grateful that they did that because they saved my life. You know, it's all about perspective sometimes. And now I see it in a different light because of my recovery. I know that God intervened and said, hey, you need to pump your brakes.
Dude, that's deep, man. I mean, I think that's like, it's, and it in the moment, you didn't see that.
Oh, man, I was
You're like,
mad.
yeah, you're
Oh,
like,
man,
dude,
I was already plotting. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to get out and I'm going to fucking smoke these fools. Like, fuck
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like that's what was in my mind
Mm.
while I'm doing all the motions. I end up getting this paper under my door while I was in prison saying, hey, you qualify for the GRE program. And the GRE program is for low level nonviolent offenses. So drug offenses, stuff like that.
Right.
You can get out of jail early, prison early.
Hmm.
But you have to wear an ankle monitor, and it's a lot of accountability. You have to report to your CCO on a weekly basis, if not daily. You could, it's a lot of time management. So everything that you do has to be approved a week ahead.
Yep.
You can't. There's no gray area. You can't be a minute over. You can't be a minute sooner. It's when you say you're gonna be there, you got to be there, and that's it, right? So I'm like thinking, like that paper sat on my desk for like 2 weeks before I even said yes, because in my mind I'm like, bro, you're not gonna be able to do this.
If you fuck that up,
yeah, I'm going back.
you're done. Like,
yeah,
for longer probably.
yeah, you know. And I'm like, bro, what? I'm not gonna be able to do this. Like, and I really started thinking about it. And I finally got to the point where, like, man, fuck, you can get out. And also, I just wasn't vibing with my roommate at the time, my cellmate. And so I was just like, what do you got to lose? Just do it, right? So I get it. I sign up for the program. They accept me. My CCO says, hey, you got a release date for, the following week. And I had already been in the system for a year already. And so he's like, but
out of the 30 months, you only did a year.
A year in, yes, but I had to do the rest on the ankle monitor.
Right.
And so they were like, all right, well, you're going to get out, but you have to go to treatment. I was like, what the fuck do I have to go to treatment for? I got caught selling drugs, not using them, right? And that was my sick mind telling them that, right? Yeah. And they're like, well, you got to go because your offenses were drugs. And I was like, all right, fair. And so when I got to ABHS,
but you were in prison for a year. So did you actually end up getting drugs in prison?
Yeah.
So so you were still using.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
not as much, but
no, it was only one time. Like,
okay.
It was a one-time thing, and it was when I first got to prison. And I don't count it because I really didn't even get high. It was such a small amount because, like, they're charging you for like $100 for a little piece like that. Like, it's just nothing, right? Like, I was doing way much more on the streets.
Right.
So, needless to say, I went to treatment, right? I get to treatment, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be here. Like, I'm not going to be able to do none of these things. And, like, they're asking me to write my feelings down and everything. And I'm just sitting there with my arms crossed, like, fuck, these guys are lame. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I hate it here. Right?
Yeah.
I hate it here. And so, like, I struggled for the first month and a half. And then, for whatever reason, I can remember the guy's last name. His last name was McCormick. I'll never forget him, bro. He saw me struggling and came up to me and was like, hey, bro, let me help you out. We could do this together. That's when I discovered the power of peer support. He decided to walk with me while we were both doing the same program. And he didn't have to. He didn't have to. He could have just went on it and did it by himself. I didn't even know this cat at all. Like, we'd go to a couple meetings together. He was in the same groups that I was, but he saw me struggling day in and day out, not turning in my reports and not turning in my assignments. And he sat down. He's like, hey, Jose, we're going to get this done. Let's go. Come on, bro. I got you. And I was like,
dude, when you meet people like that and they come into your life at those points, that is not just a person, that is God sent that person to you.
Yeah.
I have so believe that with my whole heart, have so much faith in that, because it's like, there's no other explanation. Like, truly.
There is.
You've never met this guy. You don't know him. You don't know him from Adam. You couldn't pick him up from a lineup. There was no benefit to him.
Yeah, exactly. There was no benefit
to nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's when, that's the power of peer support, right?
Yeah.
You're not getting anything out of it. He was just doing it to be a good
Because
person.
God
Yeah.
put him there, man.
You know,
Like,
and because of that, you know, that was the God shot right there, right?
Yeah.
Is because of him, I was able to complete the assignments that led me to an Oxford house.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to complete that treatment program on time, where I was able to have the confidence to be like, hey, maybe I should continue my recovery, because I started learning things about myself because he was walking there with me, and I was starting to answer questions. And then he was there, just be like, hey, you got this. Just put down whatever, you know, just say what you got to
just keep
say.
working it.
Yeah. And he helped me discover another part of me, right? The
Yeah.
stuff that I was, you know, hiding deep down.
He fed into the part of you that that always thought that I'm not worth it. I'm not worthy.
He's the one that
He's
said
the
you're
one.
worth it.
Yeah, dog, that's crazy, man.
He was the one that told me I was worth it without saying it, though, right?
With actions.
Yeah, with actions.
Yeah.
And so, like, I started believing in myself a little bit, you know? And that's what I try to do today, is I try to empower people. I try to be their McCormick, right?
Yeah, man, that's dope.
Yeah. And so, like, I got into the Oxford house not knowing what and how an Oxford house was ran, bro. Like, I was just like, if I go home to my dad's house, I'm going to leave and I'm going to get high and I'm going to go to prison for 5 years this time. Because now if I leave with the monitor on, I'm absconding. That's escape charge. Now it's a prison charge, and that's a mandatory 5-year sentence. So I knew, I was like, and I was already approved to go to my dad's house. So my CCO had already told me, you can go to your dad's. We approved it. And I was like, okay, cool. A week before I was set to graduate and complete, I changed my mind. I was like, I got into an Oxford house. Can I go there instead? And she's like, why are you doing this? Like, we already approved. And I was like, well, yeah, but then I gave them my spiel. I was like, I don't think it's going to be safe for me. And she was like, well, do you know anybody in Moses Lake? I was like, I don't, but that's better, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, well, if you feel like this is where you're going to be able. And I was like, look, I'm going to have to do all my classes at Renew. I'm going to have to do all these things. I just feel better if I'm in Moses Lake. There is a supportive housing there, so I'm going to go there. So I'm going to try it out. If it doesn't work, I can go to my dad's, right? And she's like, yeah, you can. It's like, cool. The first day I walk into the Oxford house, and I'll never forget, one of our brothers, Gage, who is in fact still in the Oxford house.
Steven?
Yeah. Gage. He, I opened the door and I have my prison bag with me, and it was him and Johnny. And then I was like, "Is this the Oxford house?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I put my hand out to shake his hand. We don't shake hands around here, brother. We give hugs, brother, man. And he comes and he gives me a hug, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I'm just coming out of prison. I was like, "Whoa, what's up, dude?" And so, like, okay, I guess this is how it's supposed to be, right? And so since that point on, it's like it's always felt like a family to me, right? Yeah. People that actually care about your recovery and actually try to see you do good. Because, like, regardless of if we don't get along, regardless of anything, we all have one common goal. We're all trying to recover. Mm-hmm. We're all trying to, fight those demons, but we don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, that 100%. That's one thing I could say about the Oxford house, man. Like, ever since Alex been there, every time I've gone there to like pick him up or whatever, it's always like, "What's up, Jeremy? What's up, dog?" Like, and I don't even live there. My best friend lives there. Yeah. And it's like, so it's cool. And it's Alex like, "Hey, do we need help down at the studio?" Like when we were modeling this stuff, I got guys have been asking me for help. Like,
we got family.
Yeah, dog. It's cool, man. So I love that you say that. I love that environment, because it feeds back into you're not doing it alone.
Yes.
You have support.
Yeah. And 100%. For a long time when I was on drugs, man, and like I said, like, I'm not worthy, all these things that were going in my head.
Straight up.
A lot of it, and I was alone, bro. Yeah. I was alone. I didn't feel loved. When I stepped into the Oxford house, I felt loved. I felt like I had a family that was supportive for my recovery, right?
And they knew, because they were all on that road too.
And that's the thing, is like, I just needed people to walk with me this whole time, right? Like, I just needed people to be fighting that same battle that I was. Knowing that we're all fighting it together empowered me to do it. Gave me the courage to be like, hey, I got to do it for the guy next to me.
Yeah.
I got to do it for this guy next to me.
Right.
We got to do it together for all of us in order for us to move forward.
And sometimes, man, it's like when you're struggling with, you just need someone to sit in the fucking room with you.
Yeah.
That's it, bro. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
need someone to sit there and not even say a word, and just know, like, for instance, like, just sit there, bro, and just like let me know that you're there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not necessarily like, and that could be with anything. It could be with your recovery. It could be with, you know, your depression, mental health. It could be with literally anything in life. Sometimes it's just good to have someone just sit right there and be present.
Yeah.
You know
it
what I
is.
mean?
And that's I truly believe that the Oxford houses here at Moses Lake have something special going on, bro.
Straight up.
Because a lot of these gentlemen that are in the houses and women, a lot of them we know from addiction, right? Some of these guys I knew in addiction. Some of these guys I didn't know in addiction. But what I do know is that we all fight the same demons and we all don't want to be alone.
Right.
You know, and we're not perfect. We don't know how we're doing it, but we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if it wasn't for Alec, you know, and the leadership that he's displayed in the house that he's in, you know, who knows if that house would be there, you know, if it wasn't for the leadership that Eddie displays when, you know, he was in the house, I don't know if that house would have existed. Same with me, you know, all I know is that we have people stepping up and trying to make recovery homes a place for people to continue their aftercare here.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things like some of the gaps is like, what do they do after they get out of treatment, right? Where do they go?
Yeah.
Like, what's the plan? Some of them don't have families to go to.
Dude, and sometimes it's just like, oh, well, yeah, if they don't have a place to go,
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Right?
Right?
You go right back to the fucking streets.
You're right back to the streets.
And it's like, yeah, dude, and it's just a vicious cycle. 100%.
You know, and it's because of these houses here that some of those people have successfully went to treatment, didn't have to go back to the streets. They found a home. They found a place where they can belong, you know. Right. It's an amazing thing to watch people grow. Or like I've seen time and time again, people come in, they leave, but they come back. You know, they come back again, you know. And I believe like no matter how many times we fall, we get up, right? And as long as we have each other to pick each other up, bro, it's an amazing feeling, bro. Doing the work that I do as a recovery coach, and you know, the work.
So like now present day, where you're working, like you say, recovery coach, what's that about?
Yeah, so I work as a recovery coach, you know, and I just kind of like, you know, it's the power peer support, you know. Yeah. I'm a peer support specialist, you know, just work with you know, people that are, you know, in early recovery or in long-term recovery, you know. And it's something that I'm passionate about, right? I'm passionate about helping people discover what their recovery looks like. Yeah. You know, regardless of if it's through a 12-step program or, you know, it's holistic, whatever it is, harm reduction, I'm all for it. As long as as long as you're making the steps towards a better life. Yeah. You know, some people use the gym, you know. 100%. Some people use religion, you know. Some of their recovery is faith-based, and that's okay, man. I embrace all of it, you know.
Whatever works for you, because
everybody's different.
100%.
Everybody's different. Yeah. And I know that today, you know. Right. My recovery was, you know, it took for prison to get to kind of get me into shape, right? It took it all these things had to happen to me in order for me to get to where I'm at today. Like if those people wouldn't have told on me, if I didn't go through my things in prison, if I didn't go into that treatment center and discover that guy was going to help me the time that he did, if this Oxford house wouldn't accepted me the time that it did, I don't know where I'd be right now.
Don't you think that's crazy to like how, again, God did that? Because how can all of those things magically align?
Yeah.
With it just all just happening.
Because Jose didn't want to go through all that. Yeah. Jose wanted a quick way out of prison. Right. Jose wanted to go back to using drugs. Yeah. Jose didn't want to do any of that. Yeah. But God had other plans. Yeah. You know, he said, no, first you're going to try this, then you're going to try that, and then you're going to get into here.
Dude, I have John 13, 13-7 tattooed on my neck right here.
Yeah.
And I just recently got it about a month ago. But it is the verse is essentially, you may not understand or know what I'm doing now, but later you will.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like that holds so much weight because regardless of its addiction, recovery, for me, I struggled mentally, went through a lot of mental health struggles. But when you get on the other side, you because in the moment you don't understand, like, why me? Why the hell is all this shit going down? Why do I have to go through this shit? And then it's like when you get through the recovery, you get on the other side, you're like living the life you're living now. You're helping people recover. You look back on all those struggles and all those things that you went through, and it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I get it now.
Because it's like God gave you tools to now help other people.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is.
Because I could probably tell you right now, like, someone is like, if you had never gone through any of that shit and you were trying to then coach people through the recovery, they're not going to listen to you.
Exactly.
You ain't got no credibility.
Yep.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
You've never been through it. You don't understand.
Absolutely.
But you went through all of it for a reason.
Yeah.
So
and that's the thing is, like, I never once thought that I went from hurting people to helping people, bro. I never in my wildest dreams would have ever thought that this was God's plan, that he would have put this for me and then laid out this path where today I get to help people. And I'm like, dude, I'm blown away.
How does that, like, honestly, how does that feel?
It blows my mind, bro, because if you would have known me in my drug addiction, you would have not wanted to have anything to do with me.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Right.
I know why I was alone. A lot of it wasn't everybody else. When I thought it was everybody else that hated me, or I thought it was everybody else's fault for what I was going through, it was my fault. I did all that stuff to myself. I'm the one that did all these things to myself. I was the reason why I was alone. It wasn't nobody else's fault.
Straight up.
It was me. Now I'm not alone today.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
To recognize that.
Yeah, no, it was. It was, but now, like, I'm able to process a lot of the things. I made amends with my mom, even though she's still struggling. I've made amends to my dad. I just want to touch on this, so, like, I don't know if you've seen the campaign for Everybody Has a Why for the Grant County Health District. They made this campaign for, like, opioid and the fentanyl. So they sent out these postcards, and they had a picture of me with a quote. I don't remember what the quote exactly said on that postcard, but my dad got one in the mail, and I've been letting my dad down for a long time, man. Disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. 20 years. He thought I was going to die a drug addict. He saw that. And my dad never calls me or anything, like, he knows that I'm doing okay, right? But he doesn't see fully of what I'm doing out here. Like, I don't ever, like, tell him about it either. Yeah. That's a weird relationship me and my dad have. Not a lot of communication, but it's there, But he did call me, and he was like, hey, did you know you were on a postcard? And I was like, yeah, it's for recovery, right? And he's like, yeah. I could tell he was proud of me. And that fucking, like, that phone call was tough for me. Like, it was, I finally made him proud, man. I finally made him proud. And that was like.
Did it fill that void a little bit?
Yeah, it did. It did. It felt good, man. I could finally, like, I know that he could probably die in peace now and just say, hey, he fucking did it. He fucking got out of it. You know what I mean? Because, like, he was fighting cancer. He's in remission right now, but, like, I was afraid that I was gonna not, that I wasn't gonna ever make him proud, and I finally I know that was him telling me he was proud of me, man. That little phone call that we had, he's like, hey, that's good that you're doing work. He's like, keep up the good work, and I was like, thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's amazing how my life has turned around in 4 years. And that's my message to a lot of people is it's never too late. No matter if you're 60 or if you're 20 years old, it's never too late to change your life, man. I did it in 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years.
And I mean, basically 40 years old too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Because there's a lot of people now, like, you know, I'll be 35. Shit, next month. Damn. Damn, man. But a lot of people think like, oh, you know, you're 40 or you know, you're whatever mid 30s, like you're on the downhill.
yeah,
You know, but I think you're spot on. It's never too fucking late.
it's never too late to change, man.
Yeah.
That's the Yeah, it's not. And I tell people that it's not, recovery is not easy. It's
Yeah.
worth it though. Yeah,
Yeah.
recovery's not. Yeah, that was the quote. Recovery's not easy, but it's worth it. That was the quote. It's
Oh,
not.
on the postcard.
Yeah, on the postcard.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
that it's not easy, but it's worth it. Like if you put in the work, it's what anything you do in life. What you put into it is what you're gonna get out of it.
Yeah.
You know, I know what I was putting in my life. I was putting in negativity, all these bad things, and that's what I was getting out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
What you put out is what you get, man.
now I'm putting out this, like, you know, I just, you know, this positive energy, you know, and then that's what I'm getting in return. Is
Yeah.
all these things are starting to happen for me, and it's just I keep trying. I just keep trying, and I show up. That's the main thing. Is like I show up, like
Yeah.
no matter what it is, no matter if somebody's, you know, when somebody needs help or somebody needs me, I'll show up.
Yep.
And I'll offer, and I'll try to be help. When my kids call me, they need me, I show up. You know, when my parents call me, they need me, I show up now. You know, it's something that, you know, even when the Oxfords, they get called so many times, but I show up every time.
Yeah.
Because it means something, right?
Right.
It's the art of showing up. Just show up, and that's what I wasn't doing before when I was in my addiction. Fuck, you can call me for, you can call me for drugs, and it still take me hours to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Damn.
You know,
Yeah.
and I just, you know, I really love my life today. It's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, dude. Like that's a crazy story, man. Like that's for whatever it's worth. You know, I know we're not best friends, like, but I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm fucking. I mean, to hear that, your story from start to finish, and what you've been through, it's not fucking easy.
Yeah,
right?
bro.
But you've done it.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. And I just want to say thank you guys for you and Alec doing these things and giving us a platform to do this.
Yeah.
You know, this means a lot because I strongly believe in sharing our experience, strength, and hope. And people need to hear it because you don't know who tunes into your podcast and hears something that might resonate with them, and it'll change their course, change the trajectory of their life.
You know, that holds so much weight because, like, even since starting the podcast, and I know it's been some weeks since we've done an episode. We were on a weekly episode basis, and life just gets busy. It's not an excuse, but life does get busy. But there's been multiple times where I'm out. You know, I was out filming at the bistro last week. Someone comes up, and I know, and she goes, "Man, when you put another episode out?" She's like, "I'm literally obsessed with your podcast." She's like, "It's such a cool fucking thing you're doing."
Yeah, it is.
You know, and it's turned into everything that I have hoped for, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't have to, like, everyone has a story. No matter what the fuck it is, your life's a story. It just truly is, man. Like I've had the blessing and the opportunity to hear so many recovery stories, you know, and stuff like that, which is has been so eye opening for me because, like, dude, if I would have never heard your story and met you like somewhere, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what's unique about this is that you don't know someone's story until they talk about it.
Yeah,
you know, I've shared my mental health struggles. I mean, like, so it's every facet on the channel, you know, but it's, again, you don't know until the story's told.
Yeah.
And so it's cool. But man, that was good.
Thank you.
Again, I commend you, man. Like it's really, for what you've been through, and what you've done, and just, I mean, well, shit, I mean, 20 years, a couple of decades of addiction, like
Yeah.
that's, and to see where you're at now and what you're doing and how you're helping people, that is something to be so fucking proud of internally, just by yourself, man. Because again, you said it earlier, no one's doing it for you. You did it.
Yeah.
No one, like, oh, you've had guidance. You had that one person, McCormick, in recovery, in that program, that walked alongside of you, but he didn't do the work for you. No one has.
Yeah.
God has showed you the path that he wanted you to be on, and you've just been doing it.
Yeah. A lot of it, just I kept my faith, like I was spiritually numb during my addiction, but now that I've been in recovery, I'm just starting to now discover my faith again, and just having
Powerful.
that faith, having that faith that things are going to be okay, because God knows what He wants, and
100%.
God has a plan for every one of us, and so like, if this is what I need to do right now, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna continue on showing up. I say this, I love the recovery community here in Moses Lake. It's it's powerful. I've heard they're very supportive also, and I I was welcomed here, even though that I'm not, like, I'm from Grant County, but I'm not from Moses Lake, right?
Right.
But I was welcomed here, and I was told that I was worth it here, and I was told that I could do all these things here, and I've been doing it. And I just want to give a shout out to the recovery community here, because they've saved my life also.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shit, man, that wraps up the episode. I mean, that's been a phenomenal story. I appreciate you coming on, and honestly having the willingness to share it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's hard to do that, to kind of dig up the past and the feelings and the emotion that's tied to that. So I commend you for sitting in the seat and sharing it.
Thank you for having me.
That's episode 10 in the books, man. Yeah. So we'll get this, we'll try to get back onto the schedule, man. Back onto the regular, the regular once a week episode. I can't make any promises, but I'm going to do my best to make that happen. So until next time, tune in.
Bye, guys.
Peace.